Good evening, Professor. My name is Talvinder Kaur. I am in Computer System Technician, Information Technology and Infrastructure Services program. So today here I am going to demonstrate the configuration of DHCP and DNS services in Windows Server 2016 as part of the Lab Book 1. So there are two tasks in Lab Book 2. I will set up the DHCP scopes to manage IP addresses and configure DNS records to ensure the proper name resolution with my Active Directory domain. So for that, I created the three Windows servers. Um, so the first VM named A12275, my counter ID is last digit 01 at last, act as the domain controller and has the IP address. You can see my subnet and 41 at last. The second VM named A12275, my condo ID is last digit and 2 is a member of server with IP address my subnet dot 42. And the third VM A12275, same my condo ID is last digit and 3 is another member server with IP address my subnet dot 43 at last. So I also connected these three VMs with remote desktop. So in VM1, I create an Active Directory domain named my condorid.corp as per the instructions to manage the network resources effectively. Next, I configured the DHCP services to allocate the IP addresses automatically. So I can show you here when I'm going to the tools in DHCP. I have to expand this because the information is not clearly visible. Now it's good. So here I set up four DHCP scopes in IPv4. So this is my scope 1, 2, 3, and 4. One for my subnet. Here you can see my subnet, and the rest three are for the 172.16 subnets derived from my counter ID. And according to the instructions, only one scope is active, the rest are inactive. For each scope, I excluded the first 50 IP addresses to prevent the conflicts with static IP assignments. I can show you in my Word document where I attached the screenshots. Here you can see I excluded the first 50 IP addresses in my scope 1 as well as in my scope 2 and same in my scope 3 and the last same in scope 4. So for instance, if my subnet is 10.180.101, the DHCP will allocate addresses from .51 to 204. I also configured each scope to allocate only 80% of the available addresses to accommodate a potential second DHCP server. So the default gateway for all the scopes is set to .1. You can see here at last. My Word document. It's 1 here. In all my scopes, it's 1. So moving to next, the DNS server address to configure to point to my domain controller's IP address, which is 10.144.6.3. So finally, I also configured the VM3s. So finally, I configured the VM3s to use the DHCP, allowing it to automatically obtain its IP address from the DHCP server. You can see here, I clicked on these options to obtain automatically the IP address from the DHCP server. So this is all my task one. I can show you the screenshots attached in my task one. So when I'm going to task two, so according to the instructions in the task 2, I configured the reverse lookup zones for all the network involved in this lab. So this allows the IP addresses to be resolved back to host names, which is useful for troubleshooting. So for that, when I am going to DNS here, I created the 4 zones. 1, 2, 3, 4. First is for as per my subnet, and the second is 172.16 and my condor ID next. So I also created I also created an MX record for my domain that resolves mail queries to mail.mycondorid.corp with the priority of 10 pointing to VM2. This ensures my email traffic is correctly routed. So I created one mailbox here by naming mail.mycondorid.corp as per the instructions I already created. You can see here my mail.mycondorid.corp. So then next, I also configured a record for www. Here you can see how to do this. I will show you the steps when I'm going to the forward lookup zone. When I will expand this, then I will see my domain here. When I will right click on my domain in new host, I can create configured a record for www.mycondorid.corp. As per the instructions, I will give the name, which resolves to the IP addresses to VM2, allowing users to access the services hosted on that machine. You can see the IP addresses of VM2 here, and here you can see I created a mailbox. So this is all my task 2. I created the first 4 zones in the reverse lookup zones as per the instructions. This is third and fourth. And then I created the mailbox. I show you how to create it already. So this thing I recently showed you how I created this. So I attached all the screenshots you can see here. So in this lab, I successfully configured DHCP services with multiple scopes and DNS services with the necessary records to support my Active Directory environment. So through this exercise, I learned the importance of properly configuring DHCP and DNS for reliable network services, which is crucial for maintaining a stable Active Directory environment. So thank you so much for watching my presentation. So that's all from my side.